Okay, hey everyone. All right, so we're going to talk about a filter today. And last year, the year before, sometime in the past, I did a filter series where I talked about different types of filters, and I was really general. I just said this is an undergravel filter, this is how it works. This is a box filter, this is how it works. This is a hang on the back filter, this is how it works. I didn't specifically talk about certain types of filters like manufacturers, brands, models, all that. But I got a lot of questions about one particular type of filter that I featured, and it was the internal power filter. And what I mean by power filter, there are basically three types of filters that I can think of right off the top of my head. There's an air filter, an air-driven filter, which is like your sponge filters, your box filters, your undergravel filters, that it runs off of an air pump. There are your natural filters, which are like filters that run simply off of gravity and pressures. There's no external power force going into it. It could be like a plant filter that you've got plants that do the filtration for your water. And then there's the power filters. Power filters are filters that plug in the wall and they have a motor in them that will suck or blow water to where it needs to go, pass it through some media and stuff to get the filtration. So an internal power filter is a filter that's internal, so it's inside your tank and it plugs in. And so today we're going to be looking at this one. This is really similar to the one that I used in the video talking about internal filters. This is the Tetra Whisper. It's an internal filter. It's the 2-10i. And there are a number of different models of the Tetra Whisper internal filter. And this one, we'll go through it and we'll talk about some of the differences in the other types of Tetra Whisper filters. The internal ones, which is really confusing because the Tetra filters, they not only call the internal filters Whisper, but they call some of their hang on the back filters Whispers also. But for this video, we're talking about the internal Whisper filter. All right, so this particular one is the 2-10i, and it says it right here on the lip. And the manual here is pretty generic as far as this particular filter, because they make the manual so they can put it in with the different types, the 2-10, the 10-30, and the 20-40. And you'll notice on the Whisper internal filters, they'll put an I after the number, so like 2-10i, the I means it's an internal version of the filter. Basically, the way that they work is they hang on the inside of your tank. And they come with a couple different options to do that. They come with suction cups, and it's got two. It's got one here, and one will go up here. Or it has this little hanger on it that you can add to it. It has notches on the back so you can set where the hanger goes of how high or how low you want it in the tank. And that will allow you to, I don't know, you can't see it, but I'll lift the tank up. That will allow you to hang it over the edge of your tank. So, while I'm on this topic here of how to hang it and apply it to your tank, one note that I will make: when the suction cups aren't on it, I don't know if you can see the hole in the back of it there. There are two holes in the back where the suction cups go. If you don't put the suction cups in there, or you don't seal the holes somehow, when it pumps water through your filter, when it's running, it will actually pump the water out those holes. Water will take the path of least resistance, and that hole will be a less resistance than going through the media. But basically, the bottom part here, so you have this, it snaps on there. There's a little motor down here with an impeller here. It has a grating here on the front. It sucks water in and pushes it up. So it pushes it up through that little hole right there into your main media compartment. This does come apart so that you can get down in there and clean it out occasionally. It shouldn't need that very often at all. But your water goes in through there, up through your main media compartment, and it will spill over the top. So inside here you'll have your media. In this is a, let's open it and find out. So you have this cartridge here. This is basically a polishing floss. You also hear it called a polishing pad, filter floss, that type of thing. It does fine polishing and catches small particles. The Tetras here, they have a clip at the top that you can take off. So that holds that in place. You can make that out. And this here kind of just opens up the top. And the white is like a little bag. Inside of there is charcoal. Well, not charcoal as you would think of it. It's an activated carbon. So the idea behind it is you could reuse this clip and the frame on the inside by replacement little bags here, polishing pad bags, and the carbon, and just put carbon in the new bag with the frame and reload it. The carbon works as a chemical form of filtration to pull chemicals and contaminants, medications, and stuff like that out of your water. Activated carbon is a debated topic as far as if it's needed in your aquarium, if it's good for your aquarium, or if it's actually harmful. The polishing pad bag is something else. Makes your tank a little more sparkling looking, gets the smaller particles out, and it's one of those things of it's a personal preference. The manufacturer of this product does recommend that you change these every so often. My suggestion is if you're going to use this, replace it when the outside is visibly dirty and that it is restricting water flow. Personally, in my tanks, I don't use these. I rarely use these. I do use them every now and then for a little extra polishing, or if I've got medication I need to take out through the carbon. But a water change will also dilute your medications out. This is probably the most important part in your filtration in this filter. And the Tetra Whisper internal filters will have a couple of varieties of this. You'll have this, which it's a coarse sponge, and it's in a black tray to keep it in place. So I don't know if you can see the sponge there. It's very thin and it's very coarse. The other versions of this product may have a plastic tray, a plastic piece with looks like little plastic fingers all over it, and basically what they're looking for is surface area. So a coarse sponge or the plastic trays and And those things are surface area. And that's how you get your filtration, your biological filtration. It's where you grow the beneficial bacteria, which will make your nitrogen compounds like your ammonia and your nitrite less harmful to your fish. It'll convert it into nitrate. And that's what you're looking for in your filtration. And that's where you build your cycle and season your tank and all of that. And so what you're looking for is surface area. And all you need for your filtration is surface area and water flow through it. And so this thin piece of sponge is sufficient with the water flow out of this tank or out of this filter to properly biologically filter up to a 10-gallon tank according to its manufacturer. Sure, this will grow some biological bacteria also and will help filter it, but the fact that you're replacing it every so often, you throw the bacteria away that's on this. So this is actually what's doing your filtration. It does say on the tray here on the frame which side's the front, and your cartridge would go in there also. And then what will happen is it sucks the water in at the bottom, pushes it up the back. The water will flow through this cartridge and then through this one and over the lip. So, do you have to have the water all the way to the top? No. Actually, according to this, according to its instructions, you want below this to be 1 inch down before you hit gravel, and you want ½ inch around, so you don't want any rocks up against it, any plants up against it, and that's basically just so you don't inhibit the water flow into the filtration itself. So it works fine for a 10-gallon to hang on the top like that. If you were to use the suction cup to set it further down in there, just leave 1 inch at the bottom. For this here, if it clogs, rinse it in tap water. Not tap water, rinse it in your tank water, dechlorinated water. Don't rinse it in tap water or other chlorinated, because then you'll kill your bacteria. Another way to run this filter that you don't have to buy these every month, every couple weeks, however often you've been buying them. The white stuff, the polishing pad, a lot of people are doing the DIY thing of buying the polyfill, the quilt batting type stuff. You make sure you want to get the one that's not flame retardant. You don't want any chemicals in it, just the plain stuff, and you can put that in there just the same as this. That's a lot cheaper. Anything that has surface area that isn't going to change the water chemistry, say a plastic pot scrubber, you can put that in there. Lava rock, you might not want to put lava rock in here unless it's in a bag or something, like in a media bag or something. Ceramic beads, that type of stuff, because you wouldn't want it to fall down in the impeller, because there is that little hole at the bottom. A benefit to this type of filter, the internal filtration, this particular style in particular, is it can be used on tanks that aren't fully full. Why would you ever want a tank that isn't fully full? Maybe you're running turtles or mud skippers or newts or something that gets in and out of the water that you don't want the water as high. So you can put this in the water portion, have your water up so far, and then land up above it. You could even run the water so the water's down here. You want the bottom part here where the grating is to be covered by the water, but you could put the water halfway up and it will still come out and make a waterfall. So that's appealing. They do make a version of these. I believe they're colored green, or maybe it's just different packaging. I believe they're colored green, that is marketed as reptile filters, but it's the exact same thing. They use the same cartridge, the same instructions, the same everything in it. Just, I think the housing is green. The box has a little different label on it. Has a picture of a turtle on it. But it's the same idea, same thing. Is it okay for your cord to be in the water? I've got that question a few times. Yes, these cords are designed to go into the water. It's perfectly safe for your pump to be down in the water. It's designed to be that way. You don't want your metal prongs here to go in the water, and you want to put a drip loop into your cord before it goes into the outlet. I've got a video on drip loops, and there's other videos out there I'm sure about drip loops, and that's just to keep the water from running back into your outlet. So other negatives about this is it does take up room in your aquarium. It isn't the prettiest thing, and honestly, when you put this in your tank, you can't fill your tank all the way to the top because you don't want your water to come, you don't want the water level to be above your filter, because water's going to take the path of least resistance, so it will go straight up and it won't go through your media. You want to go through your media and over your lip to actually do the filtration. And that's been a basic rundown of the Tetra Whisper internal filters. This particular one is the Tetra Whisper 210i. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments section below. I've tried to hit the questions that I've been asked about it before, and I'll try to get to them best I can. If you have any experience with this filter, let us know what you think. It's pretty popular because it's a low price point for a power filter. It's very inexpensive. But in my opinion, there are better means to filtration. But for your first tank, it might be something good to start with. For a reptile tank or something that isn't going to be filled all the way, it's a go-to in my book. And it's a good one to learn on. If I was doing a power filter, honestly, I would go with a hang-on back over the internal filters. But this one does have its place. It has its use. Like with everything, it has its pros and cons. But yeah, if you have any experience with it, any questions, anything like that, leave them in the comments. If you have ideas of other things you want me to review, leave those in the comments as well. And if you like this type of video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me the thumbs down and tell me, what you didn't like. Helps me improve. Be sure to subscribe if you're not, to see more stuff like this, and the notification bell will tell you when I've uploaded. And I guess I will see you next time.